Hello and welcome to the Broad Street Hockey Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gilbert. Joining me is my co-host, Joe DeMarini. Joe, you saw Flyers win this weekend.
I did. It was my first Flyers game of the season, and I got there about 5 minutes late because we're like, puck drops at 1. If we show up at 1:15, it'll be fine. We'll get in right after the anthem. But no, for once, the Flyers decided to start on time, and we missed 2 goals. My buddy and I, we walked in, and we're like, oh yeah, I guess we'll get to our seats. We see the scoreboard 2-0 Flyers, and we're like, what? How could they do this to us? Luckily, we got to see 10 more before the game was over, so worked out.
Yeah, that was definitely an exciting win there on Saturday afternoon. And I was telling Joe before the show that I have gone to the other 3 home games. I went to the home opener, I went to the Capitals game, and I went to Sunday night's game. And there's been very little excitement outside of Nick Delorier fight in the Capitals game, the last 2 minutes of last night's game, and that's pretty much it. Like that's the only time the building has been loud at all. Also, that just booming Eagles chant too. Like it started in one corner and just took over the whole fog there. Which
that was really loud on the broadcast. I was like, I could hear JJ trying to like talk a little bit over it. It was that loud. Like it blew my mind.
It was like late in the third. Plenty of fans has already left, so it's echoing already. And like it started in one section and just took all over. I mean, yeah, Birds, 3 wins in a row now, big win over the Bengals. So they're the hot team in town, and the Flyers are certainly not the hot team in town.
No,
because Saturday's 7-5 win was followed by a 4-3 loss on Sunday. That is not as close as the score suggested. There, Flyers did not really keep up with the Canadians whatsoever in that one.
It kind of reminds me of a game against the Canadians they had last season. I think it was Jamie Drysdale's first game as a Flyer, at least in the Wells Fargo Center. And the Canadians had 2 goals on 3 shots. Yeah. Like it was just one of those cursed games where they had like 2 fluky goals that beat Sam Ersson. One of them was like a weird bounce, and the other one was some kind of broken play that just went in the net. And we saw a lot of that last night with a literal broken stick goal among one going off a guy's shin pad. It was just, they couldn't catch a break, man.
No, yeah, could not catch a break, couldn't get anything going. So 1-1 there in the home and home, or not the home and home, the back-to-back there.
The back-to-back. Do we want to start with the miserable game and deep dive into that, or do we want to start with the fun game?
Let's start with the fun game. We'll top of the show here. Make sure you are subscribed to the Broad Street Hockey Podcast. Search for that in your Apple feed, Spotify, YouTube as well. We're going live there for some shows, not for this one, but make sure you get there, subscribe. You get notified when we go live. Comment there as well. We appreciate the discourse. And yeah, we are brought to you by Bet Online. It's that time of year again. NBA is back from opening tip-off to buzzer beaters. Bet Online has you covered with the best odds, biggest promos, and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. This season, every game matters. Bet Online has every stat, matchup breakdown, and live odds to bet on during the game. And it's not just the NBA. Bet Online has odds on everything from football, World Series, NHL, to political props. Not for long, hopefully. Head to the website today to get on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here.
Yep, one more week.
And something we wanted to see start, and it did start, was getting a top line together. We saw the top line come together on Saturday. Joe, you were there. What did you see from the 100 level there? What did you see from the top line?
Oh, baby. What did I see? I saw a hat trick. I saw Konecny dish a bunch of assists. I saw a Michkov goal where he just ripped it through traffic.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun. Not only was that my first time sitting in the 100 section, it was my first time sitting behind the benches. Like I normally am on like the TV camera side, so it took some getting used to for my TV addled brain to be like, oh, everything is backwards.
Yeah.
But no, they looked really good together. And Minnesota was a hot team coming into this. They were 5-0-2. Kaprizov is off to just a banner start. So yeah, I was thrilled. I was like, what a great game to be the first game of the season.
Yeah, I mean, not for the first two periods, especially since you missed the first two goals. What they had 2 goals on 3 shots, like 6 shots through the first 2 periods. It looked like, another kind of miserable effort against the Minnesota team. I think the shots were like 15-4 at one point in the second period before Minnesota finally scored. And once they did score twice in 33 seconds here, Faber and Foligno, Michkov got one back, and then, just back and forth from there. And like, this is what we talked about it in the last Washington game. Like, once they get a few goals to go, once that Michkov shot went in, which was just floater through traffic pretty much, they were buzzing again. And there seems to be a buzz in the air whenever Michkov is on the ice, especially having the puck on his stick.
It looked a lot like Michkov's goal against the Capitals, where he just was like skating across the ice and just, I guess, saw a lane or saw something through traffic and ripped it. That's 2 games in a row, I think, that he's made that shot. Like,
yeah,
I'm cool with that. That rolls. Yeah, his point streak ended last night. We'll get into that later, but he was riding like a 3 or 4 game point streak after that Minnesota game.
Yeah, and I mean, it was that top line. You mentioned the hat trick by Couturier. He also had 2 assists, and his 500th point there started off. Konecny goal, 4 assists. Michkov goal, assist. So yeah, that top line was great. And I tweeted it out after the game, the stats via natural stat trick. In 11 minutes and 42 seconds at 5-on-5, shot attempts were 18-13, shots were 12-5, scoring chances 10-6. High danger chances 7-4, expected goals 1.36 to 0.66, which is a 67%, and goals, which is where it matters, 4-1. So that's what you wanted to see. We saw one top line together, Michkov and Konecny. Konecny on the left side is kind of showing that he might be able to stick there. So that's what we saw, and they got a win Saturday. Great, finally got some fun hockey in front of the home fans.
Yeah, I hope Konecny can put up with being on the left wing. I don't know if that's gonna like be a problem for him long term. I know Cam York a couple years ago was like, yeah, I'm playing on the right side opposite Ivan Provorov, but I don't like it over there. But I'll play it because the coach has put me over there. Now I'm wondering, like, Konecny's like, I mean, coach is putting me there, so I'm gonna play it, even though it doesn't feel right to me. But hey, listen, he's the more experienced NHL player. He's played the left side before. Let Michkov become comfortable in the NHL on his, natural. Well, he's a left shot, but where he's used to, which is on the right wing. So good on TK for being a good sport on that. If it is, in fact, an issue, I hope not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's going to do whatever's best for the team, and like he had a great game there. So he had a goal last night as well. So he's going to put up points wherever he is.
He looks like he's playing through something too. Like, he does not.
Oh, he is.
He looks like a step behind. I know he missed a practice earlier this week, right? Like a maintenance day, but he looks a little bit not his speedy self.
He's taken some hard hits. I think it was the second Washington game. He missed like a decent portion of that game, and then he ended up coming back. I think it was that game or one of the ones maybe
where
in
he
Seattle.
Got buried in the boards.
Yeah.
Oh, the Seattle game.
Seattle?
I think he got buried and had to fight him. Yeah. Like fight for his own. Like, that was bad.
Yeah. So
on the other hand, just let him sit. If he needs to break, the season doesn't matter. Let him sit.
No, they're not going to. Hockey players, hockey players aren't going to sit. I mean, but
someone has to be the adult.
Put Bobby Brink in form. Put Bobby Brink in form.
Yes.
Like, doesn't have the two-way game. Doesn't have the penalty killing there, but the scoring, the offensive creativity. Put Brink with Michkov. I'd love to see that on the line. See how that kind of works out. You probably need Couturier in the middle to just be a third defenseman, but like,
well, not just for defense, but like big.
Yeah,
you have 2 little tiny forwards. Sean Couturier looked like a giant next to them. He's not that well. What is he like?
6'3", 6'4". Yeah, he's pretty big. He's
tall.
Yeah, a few negatives though from Saturday's game. Sam Ersson, 5 goals against on 26 shots. Not all of them were his fault, obviously, but every goalie's going to have a goal or two they want to take back. We'll get into goaltending as a whole.
Goaltending.
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 Why is it goaltending? Because Caulfield.
Kolosov. Goaltending.
I thought you were saying hole tending because the Flyers have a big hole in that.
They do a big fedonut, and
Yes.
anyway, we're getting off topic. No,
Yeah,
Sam Emerson had a rough game. It was a rough game for him.
But perhaps more importantly, more worryingly, Morgan Frost was benched in the third period and then dropped to the fourth line in Sunday's game with Nick Deslauriers and Garnet Hathaway. He did get some time between Konecny and Michkov, I saw, for like 4 or 5 minutes, according to a natural stat trick. And, I noticed that during the game as well. But just when we thought Morgan Frost might be back, might have found something there with Michkov and Tippett, it's just the toilet seat is going in the wrong direction now.
Whichever direction that is.
Yeah, whichever one it is. The wrong one.
The wrong direction. That's up to you, the listener, to decide which direction is the wrong direction for the toilet seat.
Like, is Morgan Frost's ceiling just like a 2C that can be carried by better wingers and like a 3C on a good team?
Yep.
Right?
I think so. I think he could be a 2C. He needs to score. Where are the goals, Morgan?
He doesn't need to. 24 shots. He doesn't have any shots in the past 2 games. No shots in the past 2 games after taking 7 in Washington. He was also a -4 in Washington. I don't remember exactly his defensive play there, but maybe that is that could be what's causing him to miss out on some ice time, miss out on some good line mates there.
You can tell he's frustrated too. Like I think it was the Caps game, he was like red hot. We talked about it on the last pod. I was like, I don't usually see that fire from him. He's usually seems more like put together and stoic. To see him
usually kind of chilled and frosty, kind of cold.
Oh, choose chill, Morgan.
Choose
chill. Frost. No, I don't know. Maybe it's just trying to like wake him up, be like, hey, you're a goal scorer. You're an offensive creator. Create the offense. But
maybe he's not. Maybe he's not better than this. So like his career high, he had 46 points, 19 goals in 2022-2023, which don't believe that was a great season for the Flyers. That was the Konecny had 61 points. Hayes, Tippett, Frost were the top 4 scorers there.
Yep.
That was the all-star second half he had, right? It was 2 years ago now. Yeah. So
no, he went and fought John Tortorella.
Well, last year he did that too.
That was last year.
But he led the team in points from whatever game on.
Oh, right. Yes.
In early 2023, like the end of the calendar year 2023 spring.
And then the same thing happened last year after he went and argued to John Tortorella. So maybe he's just a second half of the season guy. But if that's the case, he's a middle 6 center at best. Like that's just it's gonna be it.
Do you have any more notes on that Saturday game before we go over to the Sunday game?
Oh boy. I don't know. It was a good crowd. Like it didn't feel like it was sold out, but the vibes and the energy was good. Like people seemed excited about it. It was I mean, you see 12 goals get scored, and that's a good time. You see the captain get a hat trick. That's also fun. That might be the first time I've seen a hat trick in person. So that's a lie. I once saw Tomas Hertl get a hat trick against the Flyers in the 2021-22 season. I think it was.
Yeah, everyone was getting a hat trick since the Flyers that season.
I loved that game. It was so bad. James Van Riemsdyk had 2 goals. Hertl had 2. The game went to overtime, and then Hertl had the game winner. So
I vaguely remember that now. I think, yeah.
Miserable hockey.
And speaking of miserable hockey,
we got some last night.
56 minutes of Sunday night's game against Montreal, 4-3. So if you missed the game, you see like, okay, they outshot them 26-24, 4-3 final, close game, but it wasn't like they weren't significantly outplayed. I don't think it was just they couldn't get anything going offensively once again, and didn't have many shots, and the shots that they had were just right at Caden Primo, he's not a good goalie. I'm sure he gets up for these games against his dad's former team he grew up. He gets up for these games. It seems like he always plays well against the Flyers.
He does. His stats against the Flyers are like Hellebuck level goaltending. It's just so annoying.
Yeah, but So one of the big things in Sunday's game was the situation in the first period where Sean Couturier could have absolutely buried Kirby Dach.
Yeah.
Decides to, he kind of ducks away from the hit to back into, like, doesn't make contact with the shoulder or the elbow, back against Dach, because I don't know if he saw like $1 on the ground he was trying to pick up or something, but he was just looking straight down, like he was spit on, just fucking puts his neck back, and then Arber Xhekaj just goes after Sean Couturier, and like Couturier just like, what am I supposed to do? And like at that point, they have to blow it. They have to blow it dead. They have to blow it dead and call a penalty on Arber Xhekaj right there. They absolutely have to.
Nick Seeler came diving in.
Nick Seeler came diving in, and I was prepared for this game to get ugly in terms of, the Flyers losing Nick Seeler for the game, already being down Cam York. We have to talk about that later. But the referees got it right. Somehow they got it right.
So, have you watched any of the highlights or like the broadcast from yesterday's game?
I have not.
So,
no.
Okay, two big things then. Number one, as soon as Xhekaj and Coots were about to drop the gloves, JJ's like, "Oh no, you can't let this happen. You cannot let your captain." He's like, Couturier's had a couple fights this season, but those are against just guys. Xhekaj is a guy that you do not mess with in like a fight, and he's like. Or maybe it was Bush that was like really like genuinely like, oh, Coots cannot do this. Yeah. Like, this is not the guy to pick that fight with. So they were like, oh, what a relief that Seeler came through. The second thing is that when they gestured for Coots to like get out of the box and go back to the bench, JJ was like, they're kicking him out of the game. Like, we on the broadcast, they put us in a state of panic where it was like, wait, what? They're kicking Coots out? And then they're like, oh, no, they were just telling him to get out of the box and go back to the bench. I guess they got the call right. But there was that moment of panic where it was like, oh, shit, did the Flyers just lose Sean Couturier for the, like, this was only like 10 minutes in. It was still, I think, the first period.
7 minutes in the first period. Scoreless game.
It was like, oh, damn. He just had a hat trick yesterday and now he's getting the boot. But
yeah,
it was all fine.
But yeah, they got her. I would have been fine if, if Seeler gets thrown out, like while they were discussing, I was like, all right, Seeler got thrown out, but they're going to lose tonight. That does something good for the locker room.
No. It wasn't Seeler. It was Couturier.
I remember, but like Seeler was Seeler. They were fighting, even though no one was given a fighting major. And then Seeler dropped his gloves and was the third man in. That's automatic ejection. So I assumed Couturier and Xhekaj are maybe both getting 5. Maybe Couturier wasn't getting 5 and Seeler was, or something like that. And Seeler will be thrown out. Flyers on at least a 2-minute penalty kill, if not more, without one of their top defensemen and potentially Sean Couturier. But they got it right. But as soon as Xhekaj gets out of the box, the next whistle, you get Nick D out there, you get Xhekaj out there, you let them go at it. What is Nick Deslauriers doing here? I know he has great Corsi 4 numbers.
I know.
I know he hasn't been horrible, but what exactly does he do here if he's not going up to Xhekaj there and fighting him? Like, Xhekaj's not a good defenseman. He's someone who's shown that he'll lose his temper and punch people from behind. So Couturier kind of had to drop his gloves there. But it's the first period. It's early. And the Habs probably scored before Nick D took another shift. So, like, fight there. I don't know if there's some sort of code where you don't fight on back-to-backs or something like that, or if the referees threaten the players, be like, okay, we're calling this here, but anything else, you're like, maybe you get ejected or you get an extra 2, whatever. So maybe that was the case, but even so, like, it's not like Sean Couturier is coming off a game where he's been struggling. He had the hat trick. He's your leader. Like, you have to show that. There has to be some sort of fight, and Xhekaj has to know that he has to step up there.
I mean, haven't you heard that having Deslauriers in the lineup is a deterrent? You've never played the game. You don't know what it's like.
The only thing I'm possibly thinking is that, and it just makes me cringe to say this, but they're showcasing Nick Deslauriers that he can still play hockey. Ooh. So they can trade him for a 5th-round pick at some point. Because they have Seeler who can step up. They have Hathaway. Once Bobby Brink, Scott Laughton, whatever. Like,
why not?
But once Bobby Brink gets out of the doghouse and gets back into the lineup, you just make your fourth line Lawton or Cates, Paling, Hathaway, or Lawton, Paling, Hathaway, and like Cates 3C. And that's a great fourth line. And you don't need Nick Delorier out there for one staged fight against the Capitals. And then, sure, decent play, but he's not going to score. He's not going to move the needle. And he's not going to be here when the team's good. Like this is a tanking year. This is a developing year.
I know.
I understand it's not worth getting annoyed over this, but that's what we do here. That's what we do.
He did have a really good scoring chance in the game against Minnesota. Like, really, really.
He had an assist last night too. He had an assist, I think, on the first goal, I believe.
Oh,
no, on Sanheim's second goal, he had an assist. So,
Delorier, offensive dynamo, and play controller, which is wild. I mean, look, I put it in the notes here, but I think we're too quick to forget that the PhD line to start last season was actually pretty damn good for like a month. Like, that combination worked. It fell apart because Delorier is obviously not that good at hockey, but
I would be fine with that line. Like, put Paling down there. Paling should not be above the fourth line. Sorry.
Well, I mean, they're so thin at center that they kind of are desperate, but I don't know if moving Paling up at the cost of sending Morgan Frost down the lineup is the correct answer either.
No.
But showcasing Nick Delorier. He has 1 year after this, right? I think he's got 1 year after this.
I mean, showcasing is a very strong term. It's just like, okay, because like Nick Delorier is similar to Ryan Reeves, potentially a better hockey player. Like, he's Pat Maroon-esque at this point. I know he hasn't won as much as Pat Maroon, obviously, but like, he's an enforcer that can play hockey.
Yeah. I do want to this is a bit of a tangent, but if we're talking showcasing, Rasmus Ristolainen had a fantastic game against the Wild.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how it was last night. I guess he was okay last night, but like, in his reduced minutes before the York injury, he looked fine. And then he stepped up to the top pair with Travis Sanheim back on his left side. Funny that he scores 2 goals back on his natural left side last night. What are the odds of that? And Risto has stepped up. And if there is anyone to trade, we'll get into the trade talks later. This is the showcase for Rasmus Ristolainen.
Yes. Risto is either playing himself out of Philadelphia or playing himself even further into Keith Jones' warm embrace of a hug that he'll never let go of Risto. Risto looks fantastic on the top line with top pair with Travis Sanheim, who also looks great. Two goals last night, Sunday night, especially the second one, pretty much just a individual effort, just taking it in and sniping one there. First goal, getting the puck on net is always good, and it goes in. So Sanheim,
Travis Orr.
It's been quite the turnaround for Sanheim here over the past 16, 17 months when he was going to be traded to St. Louis. Torrey Krug does that whole thing,
Yep.
And now he had a great year last year, looking like a top pair defenseman. Maybe not a top pair defenseman on a good team, but could be a second pair guy. He has no trade clause.
He's in that limbo between like a number 2 and 3, like where he can play on the top pair, but like
he's a 2, but he needs a 1.
Yeah, and he can handle a top pair for a bit, but it's not like you want to make that your game plan.
So I don't mind having him there to play top pair now. Drop
contracts
down once
contracts
York
reasonable.
Is better. Yeah, it's fine.
He's fine.
Yeah, Sanheim was good. Also really good, Emil Andrae. I was really impressed by his play. He had a hip check or two against someone bigger than him. He made some offensive plays with the puck that because they're short and left-handed and both wear a 30 number. I was like, wait, is that Michkov down there?
Is that Michkov?
But it was Andrae. I mean, I know I was in the second level, so didn't have a great view, but like, he looked great to me. And he was playing with Eric Johnson, who is just a veteran at this point. But Emil Andrae, I don't think should see the AHL again, but I also see the argument to it's like, okay, where are you going to play him then?
Yep. JJ made the same mistake as you. He called someone, he saw a play from a guy and was like, there goes Michkov. And he's like, actually, that was Emil Andrae. But Or maybe it was the other way around. He's like, there goes Andre. And he's like, oh, nope, that was Michkov. So even the announcers, they don't get it right every time either, folks. No, he shouldn't go back to the AHL, but once Cam York is healthy, they've got 8 guys up here.
Yeah.
It just keeps coming back. They got to trade someone or another injury's got to happen because I was listening to the PHLY post game before the show.
Oh, the one with Flyperbele's own Steve Jaco?
Yes, indeed.
All right.
Shout out Flyperbele. The Phantom season started while Andre was on the road trip with the Flyers.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went back eventually, played in a Phantoms game Friday, and I think that was his first game of the season to skate in because he'd been on the road trip, and then the Phantoms only play on like the weekends or something. So just out of scheduling, yesterday's game was his second game of the season, period, or something like that. And he's got to play. And I don't care what level it's at. It'd be nice if he's up here and he can go into a rotation with Zamula for now while York is out. But once York's back, they got to make a decision. Is Zamula going to be the 8th that they sit? Are they going to try him on the right side so that they can play an Andre Zamula pair? Like, I don't know where you go from there.
Yeah, the defenseman situation is tough because as we've talked about, as it's been written about, like Andre should have got a chance when Sealer was out. But we talked about it before the season too with Maddie and Jacob. Like there's a certain type of defenseman that Andre will play for. There's a certain type of defenseman that Erik Johnson will play for. And Andre was only going to play if, York, Sanheim,
Sealer,
maybe Drysdale
Zamula
got hurt,
yeah.
like or Zamula, because Zamula's been bad and that's who got a job. But like, yeah, I don't know if Igor Zamula lost his job to an injury that wasn't his own. Like Cam York got injured, so Emil Andrae's coming up now, and I'm sure Zamula's going to get back in there either Tuesday or Thursday this week. Like it seemed like Tortorella just wanted to, have him get a reset. He's not translating anymore. So that's Jordan Hall. So just focus on his game, and that's what he has to do because he can be a decent third pair guy. Yeah. I was also intrigued to see that Emil Andrae immediately got power play time on power play 2. I know it was Zamula quarterbacking it, but maybe they just don't want to put Sanheim there. But I would love to see Sanheim there.
Well,
especially
here's
after
the thing.
last night.
How many minutes did Travis Sanheim play against the Minnesota Wild?
A lot.
28, I think, right?
I'm looking it up right now.
It was
27-49.
27-49. That's a lot of minutes. And you know what happened to Travis Sanheim last season after he was eating 24 minutes a night for 3 months? He fell apart. Look, if there and he didn't give it any power play time in the Wild game. That was all 5-on-5 and penalty kill, right? Yeah. Has to be. Imagine you throw power play on top of that. He's playing a half hour every night. You can't. Maybe for a game or two, but I don't know. Why risk it?
Once you, I guess they're probably going to want to get Zamula back in there. But maybe him being on the power play is like we talked about. Maybe that's not gassing him out. But like he can't get on the bench to refocus there. He's worrying about, okay, what am I going to do in the power play? What am I going to do here defensively? Like maybe he just needs to get off the power play. And if he's back in for Andre, I want Sanheim there. Like Risto, as much as we joke about it, he can't quarterback a power play. And Sanheim, I think
you want to showcase Rasmus Ristolainen as a trade bait. Put him on the power play. No, I'm kidding.
Numbers up. Yeah,
but I have to wonder. Maybe they were thinking of putting Cam York on the power play if they were going to scratch Zamula, but then because York is injured, they couldn't do it. So maybe if York comes back healthy in 2 or 3 weeks, they'll put him on unit 2 instead of whoever's up. But that's total conjecture, and we'll need to see York healthy first.
Yeah, the York injury, definitely a big one. He got hit late in Wednesday's loss in Washington, did not practice on Thursday or Friday, whenever they had practice, and then was announced Saturday morning before the game. Missed at least 2 weeks with an upper body injury. Caught up Emil Andrae. He got to start on Sunday. Erik Johnson got to start on Saturday there. They have a tough schedule in these next 2 weeks. This week at Boston, against the Blues, against Boston. then a 3-game road trip that if the Flyers get a point out of it, it would be shocking. At Carolina, at Tampa, at Florida. Then it, eases up for a bit at home against San Jose, at Ottawa, against Buffalo. And then but by then York should be back. But if not, homestand continues with Colorado, Carolina, Chicago, and Vegas there. So he's going to miss a lot of games. Andrae should continue to get chances. Zamula will get chances, but I really wonder what the pairs would be if they make Erik Johnson a healthy scratch, because that means a left-handed guy is going to have to go on the right-hand side, and the only guy they feel comfortable doing that, I think, is Sanheim. Maybe Sealer. Maybe Sealer can play defensively from that side. Maybe Andrae can, because he's kind of offensive, but
I feel like Zamula, the way his career trajectory is headed, is like, you better figure out how to play on both sides, or you're just not going to be like useful in an NHL capacity.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can't only be useful as a number 7 on the left side.
Yeah, that's not going to cut it unless you're Erik Johnson, but he's also had a career and has a Stanley Cup. So, at that point, once you're like 35 years old and you're like, yeah, I can only play that side, just scratch me. That's your prerogative, but we're not there yet. We've also kind of completely not gotten to the biggest story of the Montreal game. Aleksei Kolosov started in net.
Yes, he did. Aleksei Kolosov started in net. I was surprised he got called up for it. Like, I thought maybe he was going to be called up to be the backup just in case Fedotov shit the bed and they don't want Urson to, have to play in a back-to-back. But no, I think Urson was the backup last night, right? So Fedotov was watching from upstairs.
Hanging out with Igor Zamula, having a hot dog.
Talking in Russian, I'm sure, up there. In the flyer-shaped pretzels Steve likes to talk about all the time. But it couldn't be too much of a change because he goes on his tippy toes. He sees the game from so high anyway. Like, up in the press box is going to be a pretty similar angle for Fedotov there. But
5 holes the same size.
Exactly. Kolosov looked decent against the Canadians. There's obviously that back, and everyone's kind of shitting on him for, but it's Cole
Caulfield.
I think he's one back of Nico Hischier for the leading goals. Like, you want to seal the post. Now. I think Hischier got one, I think, last night after he scored. So I think it's 9-8. But Caulfield. But the Nick Suzuki goal was that was in front or something. The Gallagher goal was off his knee. And I saw someone point out that Kolosov pointed to his own knee to as in telling himself okay, that was off the knee, can't do anything about that.
So I saw that on the broadcast. He took his stick and just started tapping his his pad on his shin, and I was like, he was kind of looking at the ref. I was like, is he calling for interference? And then I saw the replay, and I'm like, is he calling for a
kick? Was it a kick motion?
It wasn't. The guy's skate was pretty much on the ground. It just kind of deflected off his shin. So maybe it was just him being like, yes, that was off his leg. Yeah. This might be the weirdest goalie the Flyers have had in a while, guys. Let's buckle the fuck up for that, because
I like.
Man, if this summer was anything to go by, it could be weird. And like you said, I'm in. Let's go.
I like it. He's got. I could see him going. I like the hair. He got some crazy eyes going on. But you had that goal. Then the Caulfield goal was kind of a backbreaker because it was 2-1 midway through the second. Bad penalty, not a bad penalty by Drysdale, but if he was a better defenseman defensively, he wouldn't have taken a penalty there. And then it's 3-1 suddenly. Then a few minutes later, Brendan Gallagher breaks his stick on a shot pass attempt and just floats through the zone to Jake Evans. And then it's 4-1. It's like, all right, this is probably over, but let's see how it goes from here. And he was great besides that. Nothing got past him after that. How many total saves did he make?
I think it was 20 on 24.
He made 20 saves on 24 shots. So 833 save percentage, right in line with the rest of the Flyers goalies so far this year.
Flyers average. No, the only goal that I would be miffed about is the Cole Caulfield one. But like we said, it's Cole. There's a reason they call him Goal Caulfield. That's what he does. The broken stick play, I mean, how are you supposed to read that? I think he thought it was going to someone in the slot, and then it went all the way to the other side of the crease, and it's like, no shit, like it's over there now, like, and then the one off the shin, like what? Just a funky bounce. What is it with the Canadiens and the Flyers and funky bouncing pucks? This is just par for the course now, I guess. And then maybe the Montreal Canadiens just have our number. Because didn't they like beat the Flyers like 8-2 last season? And that was like the backbreaking, oh shit, they're not making the playoffs game like in March or whatever.
Was that the 9-3 at Montreal? I forgot about that one.
I wish
even more reason for the team to get up for this one, and then they couldn't.
No, well, they couldn't get up for the Caps either.
No,
they're really not getting up for anyone.
So in the goaltending situation, like when do you think they made this decision to call up Kolosov? Like, do you think this was like, okay, we're going to give Fedotov a few weeks. If he doesn't look like an NHL goalie, we'll call you up? Because it was reported before by Friedman that or is that what was debunked?
I don't think it was debunked, but it wasn't confirmed. It was just Friedman saying stuff. I know Charlie ran an article about like how the agent for Kolosov was like, I will not speak about such baseless rumors. Maybe there is a backroom handshake agreement about Kolosov's future, but why the fuck would any of us know that? You know, it's just conjecture. If Friedman said something, then I would take, you know, I tend to believe him. He usually gets these kinds of things, if not fully right, at least like there's smoke, you know. I'm perfectly content to let Kolosov stay up and get another couple games. Again, this season is about fucking around and finding out. We might as well, if this guy's threatening to return to Russia to leave Allentown, then why not just, you know, let him play a few games and then figure it out from there.
Yeah, sure, what Friedman said might not be 100% correct, but like that was at least speculated or spoken about at some point because he heard it from somebody. Like and he's well connected. He's the most person
he is
well connected around the hockey world. So there has to be something to that. And yeah, you know, October 27th, they have 2 more games this month. Have to imagine Erston will get to start Tuesday. Maybe Kolosov gets back in there on Halloween against the Blues, because besides that, it's you know, I ran through it before, but Boston again, and then that road trip down south, Carolina, Tampa, Florida. No back-to-backs the rest until Black Friday and the day after. So no back-to-backs for another month here.
We got 3 of them right out the gate. Yeah. So, you know, man, a Halloween game. Is there anything scarier than Flyers goaltending? Like that's really the spookiest. They don't need to do anything themed. Just put a guy out there with like an old school goalie mask, and that's really just the scariest thing imaginable.
Yeah. There's one. I want to have a referee rant about because I forgot about Sunday night's game, because it was the Arber Xhekaj stuff. Sure, that's fine. Then you have Brendan Gallagher and Matvei Michkov going at it. Michkov gets the only penalty. That's a bad call. That's what Brendan Gallagher makes his living on. So whatever. It's so annoying. And also, he got butt-ended by his own end by David Savard, I think. And they just completely let that go. So not even, mad at the refs for that. That's, you know, two penalties that went not in the Flyers' favor. Maybe if those are switched, something else happens in the game. But more importantly, once again, someone has to go after Gallagher. Not Delorier, not Sealer.
Anyone.
Scott Laughton could. Konecny could. I know Konechny's battling something, so he doesn't want to fight. But like Scott Laughton could. Joel Farabee, you're not doing much. No, it has to be similar size, Joe.
Okay.
You can't have Risto just intimidate him and not fight, because that's all Risto does. Like, Paling, has Paling ever? Like, I don't know. You need someone to step in there. I love seeing Michkov be feisty. You know, there. And also, was that against the Wild or against the Caps?
The stare down with Brendan Duhaime.
Yeah, at center ice. Like, so he's not going to get beat up, but like, there shouldn't be a thought about beating him up. Like, if players take liberties with him, they have to hear about it, especially in a 3-1, 4-1 game. Like, something has to happen there. So,
I mean, they brought that fire against the Wild because Scott Laughton went and like, I think they were skating back to the bench, and Scott Laughton just like whacked at a Wild player who'd taken a shot at another Flyer, and there was like that big center ice scrum of dudes.
Then Marcus Foligno called out Garnet Hathaway for something.
You're right. Well, Garnet Hathaway got fined for elbow to Joel Eriksson's head. $5,000.
I think that's the max. Yeah, 5,000. So
yeah. So yeah, we see that they are capable of bringing that fight for each other, but it just didn't seem to. I mean, it's a back-to-back. They're probably tired, but guess what?
yeah,
Montreal was on a backto-back too, and they had to travel.
and they
What
had
the
a later
hell?
game. They had a later game too. The Flyers
True.
were done their game probably at home by the time the Canadians even started their game last night.
Maybe they partied too hard after the win.
maybe we'll see some pictures come out of some Halloween party, and we'll
The hat trick.
get some conspiracies going.
The hat trick celebration.
Yeah,
they chose chill. They chose chill, and then they were a little too chill for their party for the game the next day.
But one more thing about the refs is, like, at what point are we going to just have referees in the press box or wherever calling penalties? Because, like, last night we saw the referee go down in the corner, look like he could potentially be injured. Like, what is it going to take for, like, a ref to suffer a serious injury? Like, why are you there? You're disrupting play. I understand there's judgment calls you have to make, but, like, in today's day and age, especially, like, there should be every zone entry should be viewed by someone upstairs, and if it's offsides, it's blown dead immediately. Same thing with, anything like that. Like, get the call right. Like, you can't have referees mic'd up saying, "Oh yeah, I didn't see it. Sorry, I'll get you next time." No, that doesn't work. And, like, when the referee was on the ice, someone right behind him took I think it was a cross check on some flyer there in the corner. So I don't know what's going to take for that to happen, but I think at this point, like, we need to add something. We have all these video reviews. Why punish teams for having to challenge when you have the technology already?
I actually would take away video reviews. I am so sick of the offside reviews and the goalie interference reviews. They disrupt the flow of game.
That's what you have one official assigned to every game. They can even be remote, and they check. Maybe not remote. You get one in every city, and, like, they just watch it live. They have a broadcast monitor there. But yeah, I mean, yeah, video reviews suck, and this would ideally get rid of it.
But here's the thing: like, what if they're offside and they're playing in the zone, and then 30 seconds later they blow it dead?
Well, it shouldn't take 30 seconds.
I know, but that's even more disruptive. It's like, I don't know, because then what happens if, like, the defending team gets possession, but it's still, like, technically offsides? Like, do they blow it dead with possession? Is there, like, a threshold? I know it's annoying, but I'd rather just, like, leave it be. The last thing we need is more video review stuff.
You know what you do?
Point.
You call a delayed offsides. The offensive team has to retreat, and the defensive team, I don't know. I don't know, but it's just, like, not even for that, just also for penalties and stuff. Like, it's just, it can be doing so much better, and it's just not.
I will say, it feels like they've been calling a lot more penalties just in general across the NHL. I can't tell if that's just, like, early season heavy-handedness to be like, hey, we're serious about this season, or this one thing. Like one of them is, like, hanging over the bench or something, like dangling your skates over the bench. Yeah, but as far as safety stuff goes, I mean, I just popped up on The Athletic, but it's been 1 year since that British skater died from the neck laceration. And I do see some Flyers now wearing, like, the collar, the protective collar, but I don't know why it's not catching on as much as it could be for safety and for refs. I'm shocked that the referees don't wear them.
For ref safety too. That's kind of what got me to thinking about it, because I imagine they don't have many pads on. Like, they don't have anything there. Like, you're in the way. And I understand you want to have someone down there policing stuff and whatnot, but I'm not saying get rid of them completely, but, like, just add to it and make it better.
Yeah, especially because, like, the hockey players are going after each other. They know what's up, but the ref is, like, not prepared for getting in the middle of a puck battle. You know what I mean? So some better safety stuff there would be an improvement.
Yeah. What else would be an improvement is Flyers goaltending. They can't really get worse at this point. According to Money Puck, in all situations, they have allowed 14.16 goals against above expected. Second worst is 10.4. Third worst, 5.7, 5.6. Only 5 teams have allowed more than 4 goals above expected, and the Flyers have 14 above expected. So
is that good?
Yeah,
Is that good?
It's not good. And I know we always say Sam Ersson, passes the eye test and whatnot, but save percentage 872, goals against 3.56. Obviously not great defense in front of him, but
no.
I just want to see him put together a stretch like he did last year, even for a few weeks. Like he was doing it for a few months last year. Put that together for a few weeks, and like it also makes me wonder if he was great last year because he had the mindset that he was the 1B, and now he's the 1A, and somehow I don't know if it's the workload getting to him or what, but there's something to watch there, I think. And it's not going to get better because Cam York is out. He's your best defensive defenseman.
Yeah. Wow, that's a sentence I never thought would be uttered. Cam York is your best defensive defenseman. What a world we live in.
Well, maybe Nick Seeler is, but he's your best all-around defenseman.
Yeah, I would say that's true. I mean, hey, you know what is a great way to get a high draft pick? Play really good games and then let your goalie just be awful.
Yeah. Play fun games. And they're not going to 7-5 is a fun game. It's not good hockey. They're not going to play hockey like that every night, nor do I want them to. But I also don't want just a 4-3 loss where you come alive at the end. Like show some fight throughout the game. They're going to get a decent amount of points, but we can look here at.
I will say, if it makes everybody feel better, goaltending seems to be a league-wide problem this year. Like, I know you just rattled off the stats and how bad it is, but like Tristan Jarry has 3 or 4 years left on a huge contract with the Penguins, and he's in the AHL for a conditioning stint.
Such a shame seeing the Penguins struggle.
I hate
it so much.
The condition being that he can't stop a puck. The Avs, we saw Georgiev was garbage. The Canucks have struggled because Demko is out. Shit, the Devils got Markstrom and they still can't get a save. Like what is in the water in New Jersey that is preventing that from happening? Like this is just Swayman has not been up to snuff after signing that massive contract. Saros had a miserable start to the season with the Predators. Like there's just a goaltending problem right now in the league, and part of it is shooters are super good, but like save percentages are just kind of gonna go down. Anyway,
tell me about this graph. Well, save percentage across the league right now, according to Hockey Reference, is 897 after 903 last year. If it stays this way, it'll be the first year under 900 since 1995, 1996, which is a long time ago. Even though 2000 was just 10 years ago, but that was somehow a long time ago there.
Yeah, 2010 was 10 years ago. I don't know what you're talking about.
This chart up here, if you are listening, I'll read it out, but if you're on YouTube, you see it here. Currently got Money Puck's predictions here, point projections to see that the Flyers are tanking. They're not making the playoffs this year. I had my orange tinted glasses on. I'm sure I will again at some point when they go on a winning streak, but the reality is they're likely not making the playoffs, and they're very much more likely to draft in the top 5. But teams definitively worse than them here. You have the Sharks, the Blue Jackets, the Blackhawks, and the Ducks. I'm throwing those 4 as significantly worse. Money Puck projects them for 61, 68.5, 72, and 74 points. Then you have the Canadians at 77 points, and the Flyers at 79.7 points, and the Penguins at 80.2. And then it jumps up to Seattle 85. So right now there's a clear bottom 7. There's a clear bottom 1, the Sharks. Then you got the Blue Jackets, Chicago, Anaheim, all in there. And the Flyers are going to be fighting with the Canadians and Penguins for, that 6th, 7th, 8th spot. And even though the Canadians won, I think we saw last night, the Flyers are probably the better team.
Sure. Well, they didn't play like it, but
no.
On paper, I would say yes.
Yeah, and you can look over here. The first pick chances. Right now, the Flyers would have a 6% chance at the first pick, which is similar to their playoff odds. Or their playoff odds are 12.2% somehow. So, still got a chance. Still got a chance there.
It's better than their odds of making the second round. Let's put it that way. That seems right. I know Columbus is bad, but I
Columbus
wonder
is
if
really bad.
part of them is going to be like, we got to do this for Johnny, and they might just like not rally into like a playoff bubble, but play a lot better than we think they're going to play.
They've had a lot of injuries too. Like Boone Jenner's out for
Yeah.
a while. I know they've had a few other injuries
Kent
too.
Johnson, I think, is out.
Yeah, but their goaltending situation is not good. They're going to be bottom. They're worse than the Flyers. They're going to be bottom 5, definitely, likely bottom 3.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah, so that's where the Flyers are at right now. And then like the 85 to 87 range is very, very congested here. Seattle, Boston, St. Louis, Washington, Ottawa, Detroit. I could see one of those teams falling. Like, I don't think St. Louis is that good. Capitals are frustratingly good somehow. Red Wings are getting lucky.
Boston is a surprise.
Boston's a surprise. They're going to be fine though.
But you want to know something? Looking at this chart, or at least what's visible, there's a very conspicuous name missing. It's the Buffalo Sabres.
Oh,
they have the Buffalo Sabres like
91.
That's like wild card, isn't it?
That's high. I need to get up. I meant to get up the some other site stuff. I know Micah has his point projections. Let me pull them up here.
47.9% chance of making the playoffs is kind of nutty. Oh boy.
Yeah,
this is gonna look bad. Oh, last in the division.
Got the Flyers last in the division, 85. This is the hockey viz here. The Sharks as the lowest, then Chicago, then Montreal, then Anaheim, then Boston, and then St. Louis, Detroit, Flyers. Philly, so yeah. I feel like his projections are usually pretty good, but they're also still early in the season, so still working on that. But another bottom 5, bottom 6 was where the Flyers should be. So at this point, a top 10 pick, it's not guaranteed, but that looks very likely at this point.
Very likely.
Potentially top 7, maybe get 7ing it. Isn't that where we got Michkov?
Sure is. I would like a redo at 5.
Ooh.
That'd be fun.
Throwing you, on the spot here, but who are some names in the next year's draft that Flyers fans maybe start be looking at, specifically at center?
Well, good news. There's a ton of centers in this draft. Huh? I think right now the one with the hype is James Higgins. For a while it was a guy named sorry.
He's number 1. He's going to go 1. Well, Flyers don't have a chance at him.
I don't know about that. He's got the hype, but like Michael Misa was granted exceptional status to play in the OHL as an underager. That isn't always a signifier of a surefire like star. I mean, Aaron Ekblad was an exceptional status player, but he's a great top pair guy, but he's not like that player. Who else? Oh, one that Flyers fans should be familiar with, the younger brother of Elliot Desnoyers, one Caleb Desnoyers, is looking like a top 10 pick. There's a Russian named Ryabkin. I can't remember his first name. Ryabkin. Ivan? Oh, is it Ivan?
It's Ivan.
He apparently there was a report out a couple weeks ago that like he is a problem, like he's difficult.
Not like on the ice, he's not like a problem to defend. He's like an actual problem.
Like a locker room kind of the same rumors that surrounded part of Michkov in his younger years, was like too hot-headed or too contentious. But hey, what maybe our hot-headed Russian needs a mercurial Russian center like Ryabkin, in the same way that Kuznetsov was really good for the Capitals. My guy is Roger McQueen, because McQueen
Lightning?
would look, the name McQueen would look dynamite on the back of a Flyers jersey. I'll just I'll say that much. I think that'd be great. He's also like a 6'5" center, so that'd be fun.
I got the Elite Prospects consolidated rankings here up on the YouTube. We got James Higgins, Porter Martone, Anton Frandell from Sweden there.
Porter Martone, what a great name.
Yeah, Matthew Schaefer, Michael Misa, you mentioned, Roger McQueen, of course, Ivan Ryabkin. So, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 centers, top 9, 6 in the top 11, rounding out with Caleb Desnoyers there. Flyers should be able to draft a mean, one of them definitely, potentially two, because they're gonna get the 2 picks from the Avalanche and Edmonton. They're turning things around. So yeah, Flyers should have.
Here's the thing.
First.
We said that they were going to draft a defenseman this past summer because it was a defense-heavy draft, and then they drafted a center. So maybe it's a bit of hubris for us to be like, yeah, they'll draft a center in the center-heavy draft. Like, no, they won't.
Can you imagine the fan backlash if they don't draft a center?
I mean, I don't mind it, but they got to be right. That's the thing. Like, if you're that committed to it, you just better be right. But I don't know. Hey, it's way too early to judge a lot of these prospects for what it's worth. So, you know, but Michael Misa, 26 points and what is that? 6 games
13
played?
games.
13 games played?
Games, goals, assists, points.
And then what's that? Oh, penalty minutes.
Penalty minutes, yeah.
21 penalty minutes for Porter Martone in 11 games. What the fuck is he up to?
Ivan Rabikin's at 20 in 9 games. All right.
That's crazy. No goals either. In the MHL, that's a red flag.
He'll fit right in.
Yeah. Well, 0 goals in the MHL is not a good sign for a prospect, I would say. Misa would be really good. I would be stoked about that.
Yeah, and you got to watch some of these teams. Potentially, Jett Luchanko could be traded to a few of them. Maybe the London Knights play with Bonk because Thomas Williams. He got sent back. We
forgot.
we didn't even talk about it. Yeah, not surprising. I think a no-brainer move. Like after talking about it with you and Jacob, I realized the AHL conditioning stint was probably not the best idea. No. And you know, maybe Flyers brass heard that as well and decided to send him back. But yeah, he got sent back on Saturday morning. Hopefully, he gets traded from Guelph because. I know I tweeted out on Sunday during the game that they were down like maybe it wasn't 9-0, but it was like 6-0 at least.
Yeah, it was a really a brutal game. Yeah. But hey, the rumors were that it was the London Knights, which would be cool because he gets to go hang out with Barkey and Bonk. Imagine that. Jett, Barkey, and Bonk. God, the Flyers are really curating some like S-tier hockey names for the future of this franchise.
Thomas Williams also had Brampton Steelheads as a potential landing spot if Czechoslovakia gets traded. Could play with Porter Malone there.
Martone.
Interesting. Martone.
Yes. Martone. I think if it's Italian, it should be Martone, but I'm not gonna lead that far into it.
He's Canadian, so. But yeah, Jett Luchanko. I mean, do we want to talk about that more?
Sure, we could touch on.
We probably should have. I mean, we're an hour.
We should have. I mean, I don't think this will take too long. Like, we talked about it a lot in previous pods. Go back and listen if you'd like. Sending him down was the right call, and you know, maybe he gets traded to one of the better OHL teams. That would be a lot of fun. And I'm excited to see what he can do. I'm really going to be looking for the offense. That's like the number one thing I'm going to be keeping an eye out for from him.
Yeah, absolutely, completely agree there. Like, yeah, we talked about it. We were surprised that he got called up or kept up.
Yeah,
and we said, you know, he definitely can't make it past the 9 games. What he played 4 games. He impressed. He could hold his own with the NHL right now, but he doesn't have to.
He could come back at the end of the season and play another 5. Like, you don't have to do all 9 in a row. Like, you can split it up across the season. So
if he gets traded to a good team, though, he's not going to be available in time.
He'll be in the playoffs. Yeah. Maybe the Flyers will be. No, I'm not on the playoffs train. I don't think that's happening.
Not yet. I'm fine with it. I'll get back on it at some point. I'll openly admit that. But it's not looking good right now.
What's it going to take?
A winning streak against some good teams, but also the Flyers are finally getting some injury luck against them. Like, I know that they were beat up towards the end of last year, but now York is out. Konecny's beat up. Sealer missed some time. Like, the way some of these guys are blocking shots, Hathaway and Paling are going to get hurt at some point. Like,
no, they won't.
No, okay. No, they won't then.
No, they won't. Are you kidding me? Hathaway and Paling will have like a goiter from a puck block on their neck, and they'll still be in the game.
Yeah. So Jett Luchanko gets sent back down. Not too surprising. Definitely what was the right move. And I have a new pie in the sky center trade target for the Flyers. Do you have any idea who it might be?
Is it someone we've talked about before?
Well, I guess it's not new, but the trading for him is new. It was an offer sheet potential. I believe Bill Matz of PHLY was big on this guy.
A center who you can offer sheet.
Well, no, you could have offer sheeted, but he signed a long-term deal where he's currently at.
Perfetti?
No. Think bigger. Think. Wow, this would be a big deal.
Byfield?
Elias Pettersson.
A while ago. You're talking a while ago.
Yeah, a while ago. But that
I thought you meant like this summer.
No. A while ago. Like because he's a great center. He's not necessarily fitting in.
Tell that to my fantasy team.
Oh, maybe that's why.
That's the big problem.
Maybe you need to trade him. Maybe you need to trade for him.
I would if someone throws me the right bone.
Yeah, he's apparently like Vancouver's challenging him to be better, and like he might not. I don't know. I just feel like that's someone to keep on the radar for the.
Does he have trade protection?
I would imagine so.
He must have something, right?
Yeah, he has a no move clause, so that kicks in next year. Has not kicked in yet, so
Is he the PL Dubois? Is this the PL?
No. No. I mean, 11.6 million until 2032. So that would be the center with Michkov. But he's good. 102 points 2 years ago, 89 points last year. He's good. He's
slow start this year. What would you give up?
I'm horrible at even thinking about what potential trades would be, but I imagine it would start with, a defenseman that can play right now, maybe like a Sanheim or God forbid a York, which I don't think they would do this, but like something like a top 4 defenseman that they can plug in right now. A winger, probably a Farabee type. Might have to be a Tippett. Might have to be a Tippett for Elias Pettersson. And I don't know if the Canucks are looking for future picks, but maybe a first round pick that they can flip for someone else.
I think it would be both of the first round picks, so the Colorado and the Edmonton pick.
I mean, it would be too much. It would be too much, and the Flyers wouldn't do it. Like this is just like in a video game world. Like imagining Pettersson between Kaprizov and Michkov.
I don't know, man. A 25-year-old center, I would give up a lot for that.
Yeah,
I would do both firsts. I would do Farabee, and I would say they probably. I'm just looking at their defense right now.
Would you do Forster instead of Farabee?
Ooh. Damn, dude. Part of me says no, but also I might.
Yeah, if the Flyers the Flyers would have to show that they can compete first, because you're not trading for Pettersson and then not trying to make the playoffs. So they have to show a lot this year.
I mean, they could look, I know when the Drysdale trade happened last year, that was in a way a quote unquote win now move, because it got them a right shot defenseman with a high end offensive upside, which was something they severely lacked while they were in the midst of a playoff push. And they didn't give up anyone on the roster to make it happen. Granted, they gave up Gauthier to do it, but they didn't move anyone out of the roster to improve the team. If they make a hockey trade to get a player that will improve this roster right now and in the future, I can see them biting the bullet on that. And a 25-year-old 1C in Elias Pettersson, if that trade is available and it's not like way too overpriced, I might make that move. But geez. I mean, this is pie in the sky. We are really talking.
I did not expect us to talk more than a minute or two on Elias Pettersson. Now we're going. This is a whole seperate podcast. Like just
this is a big one.
Wild trade ideas. Speaking of the Wild, you know who didn't look too good on Saturday?
Marco Rossi.
Marco Rossi. So don't like that. But yeah, I would think it has to be like Sanheim.
Well, Sanheim would have to waive his clause.
Yeah. go back to Canada. Good old Canadian boy. He'll go out west, try to win a cup. Tippett, and then two of Tippett, Forster, and Farabee.
Oh no, I would say
plus a
one.
pick.
I would give up 2 first-round picks before I gave up 2 wingers.
Well, the Canucks don't want a first-round pick. Canucks want to win now.
Well, they can use those first-round picks for other stuff.
Okay.
Maybe it's a 3-team trade.
Yeah, maybe. Let's transition into around the league news here.
Speaking of around the league, yeah.
Speaking of players that the Flyers should have offer sheeted, Joe, who you got here?
God damn it. Why didn't you guys offer sheet Aleksei Lafreniere away from the Rangers? They were so capped out. Like, they would not have been able to match anything without serious money going out. But yeah, Lafreniere has signed a big contract with the Rangers. I believe it's $52 million over 7 years. It is $7.45 million AAV across 7 years. It kicks in next season. And I think there's a lot of potential for that deal to be an absolute steal. Because Lafreniere's scoring is deflated because he doesn't get PP1 time. He's not been on the first unit power play. I think that's still true.
I know he's not. No, he's not. I didn't realize that. It's Kreider, Trocheck, Panarin, Zibanejad, and Fox.
Yeah, he's on the second unit. Well, guess what? Because Zibanejad has not been good to start the year. So there's a real chance that Lafreniere is going to get that spot in the next, I don't know how long. But maybe not. But either way, as that core ages and Lafreniere steps up, he is going to get power play time. Like, that's going to happen. And then his scoring is going to go way up.
Yeah.
So the Rangers might have just made potentially one of the best deals in the NHL 4 or 5 years from now. But
yeah, it's a fantastic signing. Absolutely fantastic really signing by the Rangers. He has 8 points in 8 games so far, 4 goals, 4 assists, 57 points last year. Playing
the second half was when he turned it on too.
Playing on the top line now with Trocheck and Panarin. So yeah, he's 23 now, still very young, still not even to his prime of, I guess 23 is started your prime, like 24 to 26 is when he peaks. So.
Yeah, mid-20s, I guess. Yeah. But also, as far as offer sheets go, Philip Broberg has 7 points in 9 games with the St. Louis Blues, and Holloway has 4. Offer sheets are fun and useful, and you should have done it, Danny. I know it's not really talked about.
Use offer sheets, GMs. Use offer sheets. They're there to be used. Go ahead. It's allowed. It's fine. You're not going to. I mean, you might get kicked out of the club, but if it's a good offer sheet, you have your own club. You start your own club and start your own.
They would not kick Keith Jones out of the club.
Oh, so true. So true.
Jonesy could do it, and they'd be like, "Oh, shucks, Jonesy." He'd be like, "Yeah, I just stole your best player for a second-round pick. See you guys. See you guys at the bar."
Yeah.
No, but no, that should have been it. Anyway, that's really all I got for around the league. There, hockey season. Oh, there was the Frozen Frenzy. That was cool. Do it on a Saturday. Don't do that on a Tuesday, NHL, you dum-dums.
Frozen Frenzy is bad.
Oh,
people talked about it. Hosers talked about it. They talked about it last week. Flyperbole as well. But just to reiterate their points, real hockey fans are going to watch 2 games. They're going to watch their own team and then a game in the other time slot, either late or early. And if your East Coast team plays at 7, you're probably not going to stay up for a 10 o'clock game after that. So yeah, do it on a weekend. Start it. Do it with the European games. Have the European game at like 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Eastern. Get a noon game going on. Then go noon to 9 start times, and it's on a weekend. ESPN would never do that up against college football rights they have, but second half of the year, why not? Late February is just dead time. So for sports like that, that's when it should be happening.
Or get TNT to do it. They have hockey licensing rights, right? Like, get them to do it as well.
I also would like to see multiple outdoor games on the same day. I feel like that'd be really cool. I feel like hockey. I know. People think they're overplayed and whatnot, and like they're very localized, and like people that are fans of the team love it. So like, get 3 big rivalries, play outdoors. Like 3 of the maybe do like whatever teams play in the Eastern Conference Final, get a Winter Classic or do something like
Ooh,
something like
okay.
that, where it's like a weekend in January or February when nothing else is going on.
I'm into that. Outdoor games are fun. The camera angles suck, but they're still fun.
Yeah, camera angles do suck, but
they do suck. All right, 2 things left. Let's speed run them since we're running low on time. Calder Watch. How we doing?
Oh, Calder Watch is doing good here. Matvei Michkov is currently the favorite at about even money, which gives him a 50% implied odds to win it. Let me check what our good friends at Bet Online have the Calder odds at. But yeah, Michkov, I mean, he's the real deal. He's looking like one of the best teenagers in Flyers history, one of the best teenagers in the league.
He's a point per game player, isn't he?
Where's he at? Well, I think 9 points in 10 games now. No, or is 9 and 9?
I thought it was 9 and 9, isn't it?
No, yeah, it's 9 and 9. He's tied for 42nd in the league with points. So yeah. I mean, Celebrini being hurt is going to impact that.
Sure.
Lane Hudson.
𝙏𝙏𝙏𝙏𝙏 hasn't scored a goal yet, but he's got 3 points. Yeah, he sucks. He stinks.
But Lane Hudson, I know he does a lot of fancy moves and whatnot, and people make fun of him for that, but he looks good. And it's only a matter of time before he gets first power play time, and then that's going to be interesting to see where it goes from there. Our good friends at Bet Online have Michkov at -110, Stankoven plus 225, Lane Hudson plus 350, and the rest are 11 to 1 or longer. So thanks again to Bet Online for sponsoring us.
So Hudson's the second after Michkov?
Stankoven's the second after Michkov.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hudson had a pass at yesterday's game that was just unreal. Like, it was just a saucer pass right up to the blue line for a breakaway. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if he'll stick. He's tiny. Like, he's 5'8", 5'9", and 160. Like, he is small. Like, Michkov is 5'9", but he's over 170. Like, he's built, you know. We'll see if Hudson can stick, but it'll be exciting if he does.
Yeah, especially if Xhekaj keeps taking runs at guys. I mean, Lane Hudson is right there and small, and if someone lines him up, could be bad for him. Could be bad. All right. I thought this we were getting into. I forgot about Calder Watch. Flyers upcoming schedule this week.
Yes, lightning round.
Listen to Flyers 5 with Steve for all the background info. But
Mr. Hyperbole
at Boston on Tuesday, at home against the Blues Thursday, and then a home afternoon game against the Bruins on Saturday. At Boston, they're going to lose 4-2 against the Blues. They're going to lose 4-3 in overtime, and then at home against Boston, they're going to lose 3-1.
Yep, that sounds about right. I think in Boston, 4-2. 4-2. I think they're going to beat St. Louis. No, I don't. No, it's an overtime loss. Who am I kidding? What did you say? 4-3?
4-3 overtime loss, yeah.
I think 3-2. It's going to be a real just snooze fest.
I can see that.
And then the home game with Boston, overtime loss. Also, that one I'd say 4-3.
That's one where the Flyers are going to have a lead. Boston's going to come back on some fluky goal to tie it late, and then Pasternak's going to win it like 30 seconds into overtime.
He's been kind of rough to start the year, actually. Pasta's been kind of slow.
That whole team has, besides the fourth line.
Yeah, Cole Koepke. What the hell? Like, what's up with that?
Cole Koepke.
I'd say Pasta's been bad. He has 6 goals, so like, whatever. But hey, maybe the bell is finally tolling for the Bruins. Could be.
No, it's not.
No, it's never.
Boston sports is always going to have one. I mean, they had the Celtics, but they're always going to have more than one good team.
Well, it's certainly tolling for Pittsburgh. So hey, we like to see the black and gold rivals of Philadelphia starting to fall apart.
All right. Make sure you are subscribed to Broad Street Hockey. Like, read, and subscribe there. Subscribe to the Broad Street Hockey podcast. Search for that on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Joe, where can people find you?
You can find me at JF DeMarini on Twitter. It's a great old grand old place.
Yeah.
How about you, Gilbs? Where can they find you?
Yeah, you can still find me on the old Twitter at @rgilbertsop. I'm trying to move over more to Blue Sky. I'm trying to get more followers, more Flyers people over there. I'm just Ryan Gilbert.bluesky.social, whatever it is over there. So yeah, until next time, thanks for listening.
Go Flyers.